You're welcome along to Trader Chat with Johnny Ward and Flynn Goward. And if you're very tight for time, you should probably leave right now because we've loads to get through. We've the whole Christmas to get through. We've all Flynn's boozing on IPA over Christmas to get through. The fact that my dry January got as far as January 2nd and how Star Sports went over the last week or so. Flynn, Happy New Year.
Yeah, and to you too. It seems you got very far with the whole dry January.
It's just so bleak over here at the moment, and we're basically just locked up in the house. And I did dry November, and I thought that was easy, and I thought dry January would be grand because the pubs won't be open, but it turns out it wasn't anyway. So it's it's tough times at the moment. We're very thankful that we still have the sport.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if we didn't have sport, I wouldn't know what we'd be doing. But I was just saying to you a minute ago, the drinking's definitely gone up, but the diet starts today, and hopefully we can kick on from there. But like you just said, if we can keep sport going, then a bit of sanity will stay with us.
First question for you: how busy was the firm over the Christmas? Was it a normal Christmas?
Do you know what? For bookmakers and especially for us, it's a bit of a weird period to be honest, because you have the real good sport, so you have really busy days, and then you have really quiet days. So obviously, your Christmas Day and New Year was dead. So obviously, with no Cheltenham on New Year's Day as well. So it's a real mix. Like I just said, you have some real busy periods and then some real off periods. But the busy periods were good for us. So all good going into the new year, Johnny.
Let's start with football. It's been really, really intriguing, the results over the last week or so. And, you know, a topsy-turvy Premier League just gets more and more volatile, I think. With Manchester United's resurgence, Liverpool really unpredictably dropping points against West Brom, notably. And then, you know, Manchester City, real signal of intent despite their COVID crisis yesterday at Chelsea, who've now, by all accounts, reading The Athletic this morning, Frank Lampard could well be in a little bit of trouble. What are the markets saying, though, at this stage?
Yeah, so in the outright markets of City are your new favourites. So
wow, new favourites.
Yeah, new favourites.
Flip-flopping favourites.
Yeah, so when I last spoke to you, Liverpool were 20 to 21. So they went odds on the last time I spoke to you, but they're now out to 13 to 8. City are 6 to 5 favourites there. That's from 13 to 8. So after their dominant display against Chelsea last night, they have gone favourite for the Premier League. Spurs are out to 14 to 1, but the real moves in the market are Man United. Man United are into 13 to 2. That's from 10 to 1. I just can't see United personally. I think it might be a Arsenal relegation type of thing that stays around for a little bit and then goes. And I think that'll be the same with Man United to win the Premier League. I think it'll stay around for a bit, and I think that will go. I think that they're just in a real good run of form, and I hope that's the away for our outright market because we actually laid Man United 40 to 1 for the outright. So we can really do with them not winning the Premier League. But they're 13 to 2 from 10. Then Leicester are 33 to 1, and then Chelsea are out of 40 to 1 from 10. So a real big move out for Chelsea. They were around the 11 to 2 mark before that when I last spoke to you, vying with Spurs around that mark. So the front two in the market have really shortened up along with Man United, and then the other teams have just gone the other way.
I mentioned Lampard there. What's the managerial market in terms of the next one to go now? Because I'd imagine he has shortened dramatically.
He has indeed. He's 11 to 10 to go next.
Oh, wow.
So really, really shortened up. Really interesting interview he gave after the game yesterday. Kind of came out attacking on all fronts, saying that we're not playing good enough, but we will get better. He was talking about the team of old and how this is a new team and that they will improve. Be still favourite to go at 11 to 10. Chris Wilder second in at 2 to 1. And then one I just wanted to touch on was Mikel Arteta. Thank the Lord that Arsenal are doing a bit better. He's drifted right out to 9 to 1 to go next. A few really, really good performances. The confidence seems to be back in the lads, and Arteta's drifted out to 9 to 1 from being favourite to go.
Yeah, I couldn't help but think of Big Sam's comments that he considered Arsenal kind of relegation candidates after they absolutely blitzed them on Saturday. That was, I think Arsenal are certainly edging back, but it's that sort of season you sort of like sign a team's death warrant, and then within 2 or 3 games you're like, actually, yeah, they're grand. But the goal scoring pairs market, top 4 in relegation, there's so much going on.
Yeah, exactly. Just to quickly touch on the goal scoring pairs market, we kept laying Salah and Bamford this week. Salah and Bamford, we laid at 6 to 5, 10 to 11, 8 to 11, all the way down to 8 to 13. We kept clipping them, and they kept being backed.
Can you explain this market to people who wouldn't know it actually as well?
Yeah, of course. So it's essentially a top goal scorer market, but we've paired up players. So Salah and Bamford, for example. So the combined amount of goals that they get in the season.
Coupled, effectively, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So they are currently leading, but they're also favourites. They were favourites pre-season, but they were 11 to 4, 5 to 2 poke. now 8-13 in running. Obviously, Lee's creating a huge amount of chances. Bamford scoring goals. And Salah just doing Salah things. So we kept laying them. Just to quickly touch on top four market, just to give you a quick spin through there. So City, obviously, Jolly's at 1-20, Liverpool 1-16, United 3's on. And then I think it gets really interesting for that fourth spot, because you've got Tottenham there at 8-11, Chelsea 6-5, Leicester 3-1, Everton 6s. There's so much vying for that fourth spot. So quite an interesting market to get involved in there. There's loads going on in terms of the outright markets on the site. We'll also be pricing up a revised Premier League handicap market, which will be going up tomorrow. So before the season started, we had a handicap market for the Premier League, where teams got given a certain amount of points judged on where we think that they're going to finish. I think we had City in off scratch, and then Liverpool were minus a certain point, plus a certain point. Sorry. Chelsea and Southampton were the biggest losers in that market pre-season, but this will be a new market, so new handicap marks will be given to each team, and that'll be put on site tomorrow. So we'll be tweeting that out. So be sure to have a look at that. So I just quickly wanted to touch on the Trader Challenge. So we've had Rory and Revs, who are our football traders, doing a Trader Challenge where you listeners can get involved. So you need to predict the correct scores of X amount of games. If you outscore our traders in terms of the points system, which you can see in the T's and C's online, the person with the most points will get a £200 free bet. But if you outscore both of our traders, you'll get a £10 free bet. So something to get involved in there. That'll be on pretty much every Premier League game week. And we've had that for the last few weeks. So congrats to Dean Schaefer, who's a big Hammers fan, judging by his Hammer logo on his Twitter page, for winning the £200 free bet for last week. So do get involved with that if you do get a chance.
You mentioned Patrick Bamford. He actually qualifies for Ireland. There has been a fair bit of debate. Now, obviously, Aaron Connolly scored at the weekend, so that was kind of like a bit of a positive. But Ireland badly need a goal scorer and somebody who can hold up the ball. Maybe Star Sports should have a market. Will Bamford declare for Ireland in 2021 or 2022? Personally, I doubt it, Flynn, but we need something.
I'm sure we can get that priced up, Johnny. I'm sure that won't be an issue at all. I'll speak to the lads.
Top man. And before we leave football, up to a 50 quid free match bet if there is a goal in the first 10 minutes. That's for new customers for the Arsenal Newcastle Premier League game. 4:30 kickoff. That's Saturday on the 9th of January. That's for new accounts opened online between 4:30 on Sunday just gone and 4:30 on Saturday upcoming, with a bet of £10 plus placed at evens or greater on any market. See the site for terms and conditions. We got to move on though, because the racing obviously was fascinating as well. We did have situation where, Flynn, that the Irish runners couldn't go to Britain and effectively vice versa. But, you know, what were the main shake-ups? Because, I don't know, there were some very illuminating performances. We had an interest in Savile's Chase. The King George was, I suppose, intriguing in its own right, but I'm not sure there were massive Gold Cup repercussions across the weekend.
There certainly wasn't from the King George. I mean, Clanders Over was the big bogey for us in that race. It was the only horse we could lay. It was a really big loser for us. Thought it was a weird run from him. I think Paul Nicholls coming out afterwards and saying that he probably shouldn't have ran him in the Betfair Chase due to the ground. And I think you can see that he left his mark. I thought he was the one to beat in the race. And I think even the way he ran, you'd think if he was fit and well, he would have been the one to beat. But Frodon was a great result in the book for us. So we weren't complaining there. There was no real repercussions for the Gold Cup market from that race. The Christmas hurdle was a bit of a non-event due to Epatant's price being so short. So even though the really hot pot in Epatant got overturned there, it didn't really do much for us in terms of a result in the book. She did.
I think actually what's interesting on that, sorry to interrupt, but I often talk to lads on the track as well. You get a sixes on shot beat, and the bookies say to you, absolutely no good to us whatsoever. People don't bet those as much as you think.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. I mean, people seem to like perm them up in multiples, but even multiples, you don't tend to put a 5 on shot in. It's just not. If a horse gets beat a 5 on, you'd really kick yourself when you're betting that type of price. So it didn't really do much for us, to be honest. She did drift slightly for the champion hurdle afterwards, but with the result of the race in Ireland with San Juan not performing the Sharjah going and winning that, she actually then solidified for the champion hurdle again. So she's a 2-1 poke now. So gone back real strong favourite for the champion hurdle, and then Sharjah's second in. We could see a repeat of last year's. I mean, nothing's really come out of the pack, has it, in the champion hurdle, Johnny? So it wouldn't surprise me if we had the same 1-2 as last year.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, even the likes of Abacadabras wouldn't rule him out at all running a big race, but that picture is so smudged to me at the moment.
Yeah, me too. And I wouldn't take much away from Silver Streak. I think the change in tactics and good better ground might be the key to him. So he might be one to spring a bit of a shock in the Champion Hurdle. I wouldn't completely forget about him. Obviously,
one other to talk. You mentioned Champ as well. Yeah, sorry.
No. I was going to talk about Chamblou winning the Courtauld Star Novice. It was a real poor result for us in the race. Obviously, he was racing against the Big Breakaway. Chamblou is now the shortest of the English runs for the RSA in March at 14-1. That's the same price as the Big Breakaway. And
can't beat the Monkfish, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it does look very, very good, but it looks a really, really good race. I mean, when you look at the RSA betting now, Monkfish now 15-8 after winning an Ireland, but obviously beating a real good competitor in the latest exhibition. Latest exhibition, second favourite for the race. So you'd think that Monkfish could go and get it done. I wouldn't rule out the Big Breakaway. I know we spoke about him, and I'm probably talking through my pocket because I've bet him anti-post and he's now a bigger price. But I would definitely fancy the Big Breakaway against Chamblou going to Cheltenham. I think that Chamblou really benefited from the tight track at Kempton. And then if you were to rerun the race at Cheltenham, I would think that the Big Breakaway, having more time to gather himself, would outstay him up the hill. So I wouldn't be completely against him at 14s.
Can I ask you about the Triumph Hurdle market as well? I know you're not totally mad on Zana here. I think he's very, very solid, but I was really taken by French Seal's performance in winning a maiden at Leopardstown, because he was a horse who'd basically been running over sort of 6-7 furlongs on the flat. And I was thinking in running, this horse is not going to get home. Now, at Leopardstown over the Christmas, they were doing like kind of like the ambulance type view of the race. So you're following the horse around. I think I'm actually not a massive fan. I think it's impossible to know what pace they're going, and you're kind of watching them on the turn the whole time. But this horse was running freely, and he ended up absolutely sluicing in a decent maiden hurdle by 15-20 lengths or something. Fascinating runner, and I believe you might have laid him a bit for the Triumph as well.
Yeah, we did. We saw quite a bit of money at 10, and we're now 8 on this French ASL for the Triumph Hurdle. I mean, like you said with Zana here, it was quite impressive when he won in Ireland, but I wasn't massively impressed. The theory from a lot of people was that they were actually astounded by the performance, but for me, it just stunk of a performance that he's going to find one too good when we get to the Triumph. And I spoke the other week that these Triumph horses will start coming out until February, so we've got ages to find one to beat him. We're starting taking them on at 11-4. So top price there at 11-4 for the Triumph.
I genuinely would advise lads and lassies to listen in and have a look at that market, because I actually think 11-4 and 8-1 coupled, I think the two of them are so solid. So I'd be happy enough with that. Which is a little bit of a coupling again, but I'm not sure. I know you say they might come out in February, but I do find with the Triumph it's harder to win the race if you're a late developer, and I think just getting that bit of experience. I imagine they will clash again as well before the end of before Cheltenham. They'll be seen at the Dublin Racing Festival. Yeah,
maybe. I mean, 11-4 is not a price that I personally want to be taking for a Triumph Hurdle horse when something could come out and be even better than him.
Fair.
Yeah, completely get what you're saying. I guess one more hurdle to talk about is just the Supreme Novices for Cheltenham. We obviously saw Appreciate it come out. He's now clear favourite at 5-2 for the Supreme. He's really popular with punters to beat Ballyadam in Ireland recently. It was a bad result for us in the book. And just to touch on Appreciate it, he was one that we kept laying on track last year. So when I was standing in the ring at Cheltenham, we really took him on and we just couldn't stop laying him. So he might be the Irish one this year that you boys get stuck into when hopefully you get to be able to come over. If not, then it'll all be online. But I would imagine that he'll be the real hot pot come to Cheltenham for the first race in March.
Well, I know Ben Keith likes a specials market, but I mean, specials on Cheltenham at the moment, I don't know how to call that. It'd be next to impossible. Will there be a crowd there? Will there be a bit of a crowd there? Will the Irish be allowed over? I'm surprised you remember laying bets at Cheltenham last year. It feels like 10 years ago to me.
It does feel like an absolute lifetime ago. But
unbelievable.
But I do remember the bumper really well, because we had an absolutely terrible day when Champ won the RSA. And when he got up, we were head in hands.
I had a good bet on Fernie Hollow, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a real bad day for us until Appreciate it kind of got us out of trouble. So that's how I remember it so clearly.
Before we finish up as well, we should actually mention Sandown, which is maybe slightly under the radar in terms of the Tolworth. But how was that?
So Metier, I thought was really impressive for the Tolworth. He's now 7-1 for the Supreme. Do Your Job was the big bogey in the race for us, but the winner wasn't a great result either. He looked to beat inferior horses there, Metier, but he couldn't have done it any easier. And I thought it was quite a striking performance. And when you look at the ground at Cheltenham, there's a real thing that people say it's going to be good to soft ground. It always is at Cheltenham, but look at the
Hasn't been
last
recent
couple of years. No,
Yeah.
it's been soft. So it wouldn't surprise me if he goes to the Supreme and he just outstays them. So at 7-1, I still think he's a decent price there to take on Appreciate It. I know we just spoke about Appreciate It. I think it'll be easy to lay Appreciate It for us because the Irish will get stuck in. But hopefully that goes our way come March. So he was quite impressive, but not a great result in the race for us there. The world wanted to be on Iblio, who duly obliged in the handicap chase. He was bet all the way down from 2-1 to 13-8 for Venetia Williams, and just outstayed rivals in a strongly run race. See You at Midnight was a really good result in the veterans handicap chase. Strong Pursuit was the one that the punters wanted to be on. There was a real good interview with Sandy Thompson afterwards. If you've not seen it, I'd check it out on Twitter. It was a real good interview, and he spoke about potentially plotting Bellshill for the Grand National in there. So keep an eye on that one. And there's one more horse I wanted to mention was in the juvenile hurdle, but it wasn't actually the winner. It was History Bear. I think it's one probably to keep an eye on in the 12:05 race. He was weak as anything in the market. First run in the UK after running over in France. He had a penalty to carry. I thought he ran really well. We'll come on for the run, and I think he'll probably turn out to be the best horse in that race.
Anything else to look forward to?
Yeah, plenty on this week. So we've got racing, we've got Kempton, we've got the rearranged races from Cheltenham running at Kempton, so the Real Kill Hurdle and the like. We've also got the rearranged Welsh National at Chepstow this week. Secret Reprieve would be the loser in the book for us there at the minute, so just keep an eye out for that one. So jam-packed weekend of racing. Golf is back. We've got the Tournament of Champions this week. That's all priced up on site. The NBA season is back. Steph Curry started with a 62-point career best last night. And we've also got the NFL. So the regular season has finished there. It's wildcard weekend next week. Buffalo Bills will be our biggest loser in the Super Bowl outright market. They're now 7-1, and we've laid them at 10-1 mainly. And then New Orleans and Kansas would be the other losers in the outright book. So plenty to look forward to. It feels like it's really gearing up at the start of this year, and the rearranged horse racing meets are helping.
Let's finish up with a bit of darts. I haven't been watching it, I have to say. What are the darts like without a crowd? Because it is kind of part of the experience and the few beers and so forth.
It was actually a really good watch. I actually did watch most of it, and I think the performances on stage really kind of took over, and the whole fake crowd noise really helps it. If you didn't have a fake crowd noise, it'd be an interesting spectacle to watch on the telly. But Gerwyn Price won that yesterday. He beat Gary Anderson. It took him a lot of match starts to get there in the end. He was really, really nervous towards the end of it, but he was just so much better than Gary Anderson in terms of his match average that he managed to have these chances. He was a small winner in the book for us in the outright market. We really needed Stephen Bunting, but he was the worst result in the outright market. We laid him at 80-1 pre-tournament, as we were pleased to see him exit in the semi-final. We do have next year's World Championship priced up on site. Not many bookmakers have that, but we've got that priced up. We've got 3-1 joint favourites, MVG, so Michael Van Gerwen and Gerwyn Price are 3-1 joints there. We had our own specials priced up on each match, and they proved to be pretty popular, so make sure you just check them out for upcoming tournaments. We've got the Masters coming up at the end of January, and then the Premier League is looking to be started around Easter time, obviously COVID dependent. They've announced 9 players for the Premier League, and with 1 spot still to fill, so you'd think that the Masters at the end of January will be pretty important for that spot. You also got Dave Chisnell in there pitching for that spot as well. So a lot coming up in terms of darts. It was a really good tournament that culminated yesterday.
Yeah, I guess finally, how long is your diet going to last? Over under like a couple of days?
What's that, mate? Sorry.
Your new diet?
The diets are literally started today. So I had a couple of eggs on toast today, and then we're going out for a run on the seafront tonight. So the diet and exercise all starts today. That's
lovely, Flynn. Thanks a million for that.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, we're back for 2021, and hopefully we'll have loads of sports to talk about to get us through dry January or wet January or whatever January it is for you. Thanks for watching.